The story begins with the protagonist, let's call them Alex, who is a talented and passionate artist. From a young age, Alex's parents, particularly their father, instilled the belief that the only way to achieve success and respect in life was to become a doctor. Their mother, while slightly more understanding, also firmly supported this view, believing that Alex had the intellectual ability to excel in medicine. Alex, however, had always been drawn to art. Whether it was sketching in the margins of their textbooks or painting in secret during late-night hours, Alex found peace and purpose in creating. The idea of dedicating their life to painting, sculpture, or any other form of art was the only dream they had, but it was one they knew their parents would never accept. Every time Alex expressed an interest in art, their parents dismissed it. Art is a hobby, not a career, they would say. You can paint on the side, but you need a real job to ensure your future. The expectation was clear. Alex was to become a doctor, just like their father, who had spent years building a successful career in the medical field. At the age of 18, Alex found themselves in a constant battle between following their own dreams and living up to the expectations of their family. The pressure was immense, and the thought of disappointing their parents terrified them. Despite this, Alex enrolled in pre-med courses, their heart not entirely in it but feeling it was the only way to keep their family's approval. But while Alex appeared to be following the path toward medicine, something else was happening in secret. Behind closed doors, Alex was excelling in art. They spent hours working on canvases, experimenting with colors and styles. What started as small pieces to fill their spare time soon turned into works that could easily be sold. By the end of their first year of medical school, Alex had sold several pieces to local galleries, and even some pieces to art collectors. They had quietly amassed a small fortune without their parents ever suspecting. Though Alex was seeing success in their art, the pressure to follow the medical path weighed heavily on them. They struggled with their medical studies, often zoning out in class as their mind drifted to their latest art project. The thought of continuing in medicine, knowing that it wasn't their true calling, was suffocating. Yet, the fear of breaking their parents' hearts kept Alex in line. Late at night, Alex would sit alone in their room, sketching away, dreaming of the life they truly wanted. A life full of color, creativity, and expression. But that dream felt so distant, buried under the expectations of their family. They knew that if they ever revealed the truth about their art, their parents would never understand, and the family dynamic would be forever altered. The chapter ends with Alex facing a crucial decision: continue pretending to follow the path of medicine, or finally take the risk of pursuing their art more seriously, at the cost of their family's approval. As the months passed, Alex's life became a balancing act, attending medical school by day, painting and sculpting by night. On the outside, Alex continued to play the part of the perfect pre-med student, keeping up with lectures, exams, and the demanding schedule. But in the quiet of their room, they were living a double life, pouring their soul into their art. The artwork Alex created wasn't just a hobby anymore. It had become a thriving, profitable venture. Without their parents knowing, Alex had begun selling pieces to local galleries. What started with small exhibitions in obscure venues soon blossomed into more significant opportunities. Alex began receiving commissions for large-scale pieces from collectors and business owners. At first, the checks were modest, but with each sale, their confidence grew, and the recognition of their work spread. They had made their first $1 million from art by the age of 22, but it was all hidden beneath the surface. Alex's artistic style was unique, a blend of abstract expressionism and realism. Their work captured deep emotions, exploring themes of identity, conflict, and human connection. Some pieces were painted in bold, striking colors, while others were soft, almost dreamlike. Alex poured their heart into every brushstroke, but only a select few knew the true artist behind these masterpieces. Despite the financial success, Alex's heart still wasn't in their medical studies. They attended class, but it felt like a chore. The lectures were boring, the textbooks uninspiring, and every day felt like they were slipping further away from their true passion. Their mind would wander during anatomy lectures, thinking about the composition of their next painting or a new sculpture they were designing. At the same time, the art world began to take notice. Alex had started receiving invitations to showcase their works at more prestigious events. They were asked to speak at art symposiums, meet with wealthy art collectors, and collaborate with other well-known artists. Yet, Alex still kept all of this a secret from their family. The internal struggle grew more intense. Alex's parents were thrilled when they saw Alex excelling in medical school, proud of their child for maintaining good grades and showing promise in a field that would bring prestige and financial stability. To them, Alex's success in medicine was a reflection of all their hard work in guiding their child to greatness. But Alex knew the truth. Every time they saw their parents' proud faces, they felt a knot in their stomach. They couldn't continue to hide who they were forever. The pressure of living a lie was beginning to weigh on them, but the fear of disappointing their parents was even greater. As Alex's art career flourished, medical school felt increasingly out of place. The long hours of studying for exams seemed irrelevant. While others stressed about their future as doctors, Alex's future was already secure in art. But the conflict was hard to ignore. The medical textbooks, filled with endless facts about the human body, felt lifeless compared to the vibrancy and freedom Alex experienced while creating. They didn't want to end up as just another doctor. They wanted to be recognized as an artist, someone who created work that resonated with people on a deeper level. One day, after an exhausting exam, Alex sat alone in a coffee shop, staring at the papers spread before them. The looming question was clear. Continue down this path to please their parents, or take the leap into the unknown world of art. As if by fate, Alex's phone buzzed. It was an email from a prestigious gallery offering them a solo exhibition. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. The invitation was a validation of everything Alex had worked for in secret. But it also came with a choice. Continue with medical school and the life their parents had mapped out for them, or take the plunge and pursue art full-time. At this moment, Alex realized something powerful. Their success in the art world was no longer a dream, but a reality. They were financially independent, with enough money to support themselves comfortably, and their art was being recognized by people who saw its value. They didn't need to follow the path their parents had laid out for them anymore. But Alex still wasn't ready to reveal the truth. They loved their parents and feared the consequences of letting them down. For now, Alex decided to keep their art career hidden and continued with medical school. But deep inside, the desire to live authentically was growing stronger with every passing day. Alex knew that one day they would have to make a choice, one that could change everything. The chapter ends with Alex at a crossroads, torn between their duty to their family and their desire to pursue their true calling as an artist. As time passed, Alex's art career continued to soar. Their name was gaining traction in the art world, and commissions were flooding in. They had reached the point where they could live comfortably without ever needing to set foot in a hospital. But while Alex's external success grew, their internal conflict became unbearable. The pressure to live up to their parents' expectations was like a heavy weight on their chest. Alex's parents, particularly their father, were ecstatic about the progress Alex had made in medical school. They had been eagerly waiting for the day when Alex would officially enter the medical profession and join the family tradition. Every phone call, every family gathering, was filled with praise for Alex's academic success. But as much as Alex smiled and nodded, the truth weighed heavily on them. They had been lying to their parents for years, pretending to be someone they weren't. The turning point came one fateful day. Alex received an invitation to an exclusive, high-profile solo art exhibition in New York. It was the opportunity of a lifetime, one that could catapult their career to international fame. The gallery was renowned for showcasing the works of artists who had become household names. The exhibition would feature some of Alex's most prized pieces, and the publicity would be enough to secure them a place among the world's top artists. For a moment, Alex was on cloud nine. But then the reality of the situation hit. This exhibition would mark the point of no return. There was no hiding anymore. If they went, their parents would know everything. The dual life they had been leading could no longer be sustained. Alex decided that it was time to come clean. One evening, after their parents had returned home from work, Alex invited them over to their apartment under the pretense of wanting to talk about their future. The moment was tense, as Alex felt the weight of the conversation hanging in the air. As their parents settled into the living room, Alex could feel their heart pounding in their chest. They had no idea how their parents would react, but the time for secrets was over. "Mom, Dad," Alex began, their voice slightly shaky. "I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you years ago." Their parents exchanged curious glances, unsure of where this conversation was headed. "I'm not just in medical school because I want to be a doctor," Alex continued. "I've been pursuing my art for years. I've been selling paintings, getting commissions. And I've made a lot of money from it. I'm a full-time artist, and I don't want to be a doctor." There was a long pause, during which Alex's parents simply stared at them in shock. They had been so proud of Alex's progress in medicine, and now, this bombshell felt like a betrayal. Alex's father was the first to speak, his voice sharp with disbelief. "Art? You've been wasting your time with art?" he asked, his tone filled with confusion and anger. "Do you realize how hard we've worked to get you into medical school? We've sacrificed everything for your future, and now you tell us this." Alex's mother looked equally stunned but less angry. She seemed more hurt, as if struggling to comprehend the reality of what Alex had just revealed. "Why didn't you tell us before, Alex? Why keep this secret? You know how much we've invested in your education. You could have been anything, and you choose this." The tension in the room was unbearable. Alex could feel the walls closing in, but they stood their ground, finally speaking the truth they had been holding in for so long. "I never wanted to be a doctor. I've been living a lie for years. I didn't want to disappoint you, but this isn't the life I want. I found success in art, and I want to follow that path." The words hung in the air like a storm cloud, and Alex's parents didn't know how to react. The next few minutes were filled with heated words and disbelief. They couldn't comprehend how Alex could throw away the opportunity to become a doctor and live a life that was financially secure and respected. "You're throwing away your future," Alex's father shouted. "You're abandoning everything we've worked for. You think painting is going to sustain you? You're being naive." Alex's mother, who had always been the more understanding of the two, looked at Alex with tears in her eyes. "We love you, but we don't understand. You've spent years studying medicine. What was it all for if this is the path you've chosen? Art is just a hobby. It's not real work." Alex's heart broke as they watched their parents struggle to accept the truth. It wasn't just about their art. It was about their life choices, and it was clear their parents couldn't see beyond their own expectations. "I'm not throwing away my future, Mom. I am the future. I've built a career as an artist. I'm not asking for your approval, but I need you to accept who I am." There was a heavy silence as Alex's parents absorbed this new reality. They didn't know what to say. Alex had shattered the image they had built for their child, and now they had to come to terms with a future they hadn't envisioned. The chapter ends with Alex feeling a mix of relief and sadness. It felt like a weight had been lifted, but the relationship with their parents was now in jeopardy. Alex knew that it would take time for their parents to accept their choice, but for the first time they were living their truth. Meanwhile, the art exhibition loomed closer, and Alex knew they had to take that step, whether their parents accepted it or not. They had chosen to live authentically, and that decision was the first of many in their journey to fully embrace their life as an artist. In the weeks that followed, Alex's life was a whirlwind of emotions. The relief of finally coming clean to their parents about their true passion was quickly overshadowed by the strain it caused in their relationship with them. Their parents, though initially shocked, began to process the truth in their own ways. But the road to reconciliation was not going to be easy. For the first few days after the revelation, there was an eerie silence in Alex's family. The calls stopped, and the visits became sparse. Alex's parents didn't call to check in like they used to, and every family gathering was filled with tension. When Alex did see them, their conversations were curt and uncomfortable. Their father, especially, refused to speak to Alex about anything other than school or health, completely ignoring the art career that Alex had built. Alex felt a profound sense of guilt weighing down on them. They never wanted to hurt their parents, but they also knew that their decision was the right one for their happiness and fulfillment. They kept their distance, hoping the tension would eventually fade, but each day felt like walking on eggshells. Their parents were struggling to understand, and for Alex, the pain of feeling rejected by the people they loved was unbearable. Despite the strain at home, Alex's career in the art world continued to thrive. The solo exhibition in New York was just the beginning. As word spread, Alex was invited to showcase their works in galleries across the country. Art collectors reached out, commissions flooded in, and Alex's name became synonymous with innovation and creativity. Alex's style evolved even further as they experimented with new mediums and expanded their reach into digital art and sculptures. They collaborated with other renowned artists, and their reputation in the art world grew exponentially. The world seemed to open up in ways they never imagined, but a small part of them couldn't shake the feeling of longing for their parents' approval. However, the success only highlighted the divide. As Alex's financial and artistic accomplishments grew, the emotional distance between them and their family seemed to widen. Whenever they spoke to their parents, it felt like their achievements were being dismissed. Their father continued to focus on Alex's failure to follow the medical path, and their mother struggled to hide the hurt behind her attempts at making small talk. One day, as Alex was finishing up a new project, their phone rang. It was an unknown number, but Alex's heart skipped a beat as they answered, wondering if it might be news about a new art commission. However, the voice on the other end was one they hadn't expected. Their father. "Alex," he said, his voice quieter than usual. I've been thinking about what you said." Alex's heart pounded in their chest. Was this the beginning of their father accepting their choices? "I'm not sure I understand everything about your art," he continued, "but I do know that you've built something for yourself. You've worked hard and I can see that. Maybe I was wrong to be so angry about it. I still wish you would have become a doctor, but that's your life, not mine." Alex was stunned into silence. For the first time in weeks, their father was acknowledging their decision without anger, and it felt like a small step toward healing. "I don't expect you to forgive me for the way I reacted," their father added. "But I want you to know that I'm proud of you. In my own way. And I want to try to understand you more." A few days later, Alex's mother called, asking if they could meet for lunch. Alex agreed, nervous yet hopeful that the conversation could finally bridge the gap between them. Over lunch, the conversation started slowly, but eventually, Alex's mother opened up. "I've had time to think," she said softly, looking at Alex across the table. "I was hurt more than I realized. I thought that if you didn't become a doctor, you were somehow letting go of all the dreams we had for you. But now, I see that you've created your own dreams." Alex's heart swelled with emotion. "I never wanted to disappoint you," they said, their voice trembling. "I just wanted to be happy, to live a life that felt true to me." "I know," their mother replied, her eyes brimming with tears. "And maybe, just maybe, I've been too focused on what I thought was best for you. I'm still learning how to let go." For the first time in a long while, Alex felt like they were seen, not as the child their parents wanted them to be, but as the person they had become. The reconciliation was not immediate, but it was progress. There were still awkward moments, misunderstandings, and times when their parents would bring up medical school, almost as if they couldn't completely let go of the dream they had for Alex. But something had changed. There was a mutual understanding that, though they might not agree with Alex's choices, they respected them. Alex knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but they felt a sense of peace that they had never experienced before. For the first time in years, they felt that they could pursue their passion for art without hiding or feeling guilty. The relationship with their parents would continue to evolve, and while it might never be perfect, it was real and grounded in the truth of who Alex was. As Alex's art career flourished, so did their growth as an individual. They no longer felt torn between the life they wanted and the life their parents envisioned for them. With each new painting, with each new commission, Alex embraced the person they had become, and slowly, their family began to accept that too. The chapter ends with Alex preparing for another major exhibition, this one abroad in Europe, a milestone that would further cement their reputation in the art world. But more importantly, it marked the beginning of a new chapter in their relationship with their parents. There would still be challenges ahead, but Alex was no longer afraid to live their truth, boldly, unapologetically, and fully. As the months passed, Alex's career soared to even greater heights. The exhibition in Europe was a resounding success, drawing attention from art critics, collectors, and even some celebrity figures. Alex's work was now in galleries from Paris to Tokyo, and they had become an internationally recognized name in the art world. The financial stability that had once seemed so elusive was now a reality. Alex was living the dream, but the path hadn't been without its struggles. Despite their external success, Alex continued to grapple with the complex dynamics in their relationship with their parents. There were moments of tension but also moments of progress. One afternoon, as Alex was working in their studio, their phone rang. The caller ID showed an unfamiliar number. With a sense of dread, Alex answered. "Hello, Alex." Their father's voice was shaky and hesitant. I need to talk to you." Alex's heart skipped a beat. They had become accustomed to the strained silence between them and their father, but this tone was different. There was an urgency to it. They set down their brush and focused on the conversation. "Of course, Dad. What's going on?" Alex asked, trying to hide the nerves creeping up. There was a long pause on the other end before their father spoke again. "I've been thinking a lot about you and your art. I think I was wrong, Alex. I don't understand it fully, but I realize it's what makes you happy, and I should have seen that earlier. I want you to know that I'm proud of you. And I'm sorry for not supporting you sooner." Alex couldn't believe what they were hearing. After all the tension and unspoken words, their father was admitting that he was wrong, and more importantly, he was accepting Alex for who they were. It felt like a weight had been lifted from their shoulders. "You don't have to apologize, Dad," Alex said softly. "I know it was hard for you, but I'm glad we're talking now. I want to be there for you, Alex. I don't know how to show it, but I want to support you in your art. I know it's important to you now, and I see how far you've come. I didn't want to lose you." Tears welled up in Alex's eyes as they listened to their father's voice, full of emotion. This was the moment Alex had been waiting for, the moment when they no longer had to choose between their passion and their family. The conversation marked the beginning of a new era in Alex's relationship with their parents. Over the next few months, they had more heart-to-heart talks, filled with vulnerability and understanding. Their father, though still hesitant at times, began to express his pride in Alex's success. He even attended one of their gallery openings, a symbolic gesture that meant more than words could express. For Alex, seeing their father in the art world, surrounded by people who admired their work, was a surreal experience. Their mother, too, began to soften. She reached out more often, and although she still had her reservations about Alex's career choice, she came to accept it as part of who Alex had become. She would often ask about new paintings or commissions, offering her encouragement in subtle but meaningful ways. There was a sense of healing between them, and while it wasn't perfect, it was genuine. One evening, as Alex was finishing up a new piece, their mother called unexpectedly. "I saw your new painting online," she said, her voice warmer than it had ever been. "It's beautiful, Alex. I don't understand it fully, but I can see the passion in it. I think you've found your place in the world." Alex smiled, overwhelmed with gratitude. "Thank you, Mom. That means everything to me." As Alex's parents came to terms with their artistic path, Alex was able to fully embrace their success without the lingering guilt they once felt. They could now focus on their art and the future they were building for themselves. They continued to push creative boundaries, experimenting with new styles and concepts, and were even invited to showcase their work at prestigious international art fairs. The art world was no longer just a dream, it was their reality. But even more fulfilling was the newfound sense of peace in their personal life. Alex had finally stepped into their true identity, no longer weighed down by the expectations of others. Alex's relationships with their friends and peers also flourished. They were no longer the person hiding behind a mask of a future they didn't want. Their authenticity inspired others around them, and they became a mentor to up-and-coming artists who struggled with the same internal conflict Alex had once faced. The real turning point came when Alex's family gathered for a special occasion. Alex's art had been chosen to be displayed at a major charity event that benefited young artists. It was the first time Alex's entire family attended one of their major events. Their parents sat together in the front row, beaming with pride. For the first time there was no tension, no judgment, only acceptance. After the event, Alex's father pulled them aside. "I'm proud of you, son," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You've done it. You've made it, and I see now that it's your path. I won't ever fully understand it, but I respect it. You're my child, and I love you for who you are." Alex felt a lump form in their throat. This moment, years in the making, was finally here. It was a moment of total acceptance. "I love you too, Dad," Alex replied. "And thank you for being willing to understand." With the emotional weight of the past finally lifted, Alex looked toward the future. Their art had not only brought them fame and financial success, but it had also helped them heal deep emotional wounds. They no longer had to choose between the person they were and the person their parents wanted them to be. As Alex stood in front of their latest piece, a stunning portrait that reflected their journey, their struggles, and their triumphs, they realized that they had truly found their place in the world. It wasn't just about the art, it was about the life they had built, the people they had connected with, and the freedom they had earned. The chapter ends with Alex standing tall, not only as a successful artist but as someone who had found peace, fulfillment, and acceptance, both from their family and from within themselves. The journey had been difficult, but it had been worth every step.